Hello, welcome to Shmirchik Creature's Corner, where you will experience all the unpleasantness that comes with me, right? Yes. System works. Shalom Israel. System works, yeah. Okay, so now what we're going to do is check the news, then we will go on to continue speaking about Jew-hating conspiracy theories that have been flying around since the beginning of time, and on how basically blaming Jews for wars, that for all the wars, is anti-Semitic. But for now, let's get with the program, right? Let's get with the program. Okay. This is my Rumble account. 1 second. Let's get with the program. Okay. So there was a terrorist attack in Holon, which is, I think it's northern Israel, and basically 2 people are dead. So if you want to know what the definition of terrorism is, it's when bad people go and target civilians just for the sake of killing them and to terrorize the public. That is terrorism. So the Gazans, the Muslims in the West Bank, the Muslims within Israel, they are terrorists, a lot of them. Because they don't just go after the soldiers, you know. When you go after the soldiers, it's like, okay, it's not good. It's murder, but it's not terrorism, necessarily. Terrorism is when you go after children on purpose, you know. Men, women, and children that are just going about their day, and yeah. So, but that's what the Muslims do best. The Islamists, extremists, you know, I have to add extremists because not all Muslims are filthy genociders, right? So, let's go see what it says here, shall we? Okay. 2 dead and 2 others hurt in suspected terrorist attack in Holon. Let's go see. Police officer shoots assailant on the scene after suspected terrorist, a West Bank resident, stabbed civilians in 3 locations in the city. Just south of Tel Aviv. This is a breaking story. Okay, so this is central Israel. So
switch to Freedom Mobile and get 50 gig.
Right, I have to wait till the advertisement goes through, you know what I'm saying? So, these are our police people. Who are these people? Why are they considered important? Right? Scene of a stabbing attack in Holon. Two people dead. Wow. This is near Tel Aviv. This is scary. You know, like, this is an hour from me. So this is the scene of the attack where 2 people were murdered. This is what we call terrorism, my friend. This is what the Muslims here in Israel, in the West Bank, the Muslims of they do jihad. They think, for them, killing Jewish babies is not considered murder because they consider all Jews soldiers, right? Which is obviously not the truth, because a baby is not a soldier. A 1-year-old is not a soldier. There's no way a 1-year-old can be a soldier. This is terrorism. When they attack a mother, when they attack a father who's not a soldier, right? Just random civilians going about their day, right? It's disturbing that the world considers this type of bloodshed acceptable, and they don't see the Muslims that we're fighting against for what they are, which is just terrorist pieces of garbage, that don't deserve to live. These people that do these type of behaviors don't deserve to live. And the same with those terrorists in our prisons, right? They are guilty of stabbing and murdering Jewish civilians, right? I understand, like, people who don't like Jews, they don't consider us human beings or civilians, but we are human beings regardless of what you think of us, and this is not acceptable. And I would go so far as to say that those people who support and worry for our prisoners that murdered Jewish women and children and men and old people, you worry about them, right? I would go as far as to say that you are a lover of chomos, right? Those people in our prisons are chomos. They love to rape children. They are child rapists. They are murderers of children, okay? This is who you like. And so you're a lowlife and a freak. Anybody who likes those terrorists and anyone who cares for the human rights of the terrorists, as if they have any human rights. You know, like the terrorists in our prison that do the most horrific things. And okay, if they got sodomized by Israeli soldiers, I don't understand why you care so much for them. And anybody that says, oh, you're no different from your enemy, that's not true, because our soldiers do not rape children. But, you know, the ones that rape, if they raped, the ones that rape the rapists of children, it's not the same thing. It's just justice, right? It's just justice. You know, like taking child rapists in prison and brutalizing them and sodomizing them, it's not the same as raping children. If you can't see that it's not equal, then you are morally bankrupt and you love chomos, which means you love child rapists. So you are an evil person if you take the side of those rapists in prison as if they have any rights. They don't have any rights. Those people in our prisons, they don't have human rights. After what they've done, they have zero rights. And it's not equal to a soldier going and brutalizing one of the child rapists. It's not the same thing, okay? Right, we don't exactly think it's okay to go and behave in such a manner to anybody, even if they're terrorists, you know, if you want to be a little bit more morally superior. However, I have no problem with child rapists, women rapists, terrorists being brutalized in the most brutal fashion. I actually think it would be a good thing for, you know, I actually think that those rapists that have done terrible things, I think that they should be brutalized by the very people that they've brutalized. We should be able to take vengeance on them in a brutal fashion, you know, so that it will discourage them from thinking that they won't be sodomized. You sodomize someone else, you know, like, it can happen to you as well. That's justice, right? That would be justice. But, you know, Israel likes to pride itself of doing things in a more civil manner, right? But for the people that come and say, oh, make statements like, oh, the chosen people, oh, look at all the Jews are going and doing this. First of all, one soldier might have done raped a chomo in prison, right? Which I think you guys should celebrate that, you know, because if you really care for children and men, women, and children who are civilians, you should celebrate that, and you should be happy that they're getting punished. The bad guys are getting punished. But again, we understand who you stand with. You stand with bad people, you know. Jew haters stand with evil, and therefore they defend evil, and they defend the human rights as if the prisoners have any human rights and they deserve any human rights. They defend the prisoners who are evil. You stand with them, right? So I would go as far as to say that if you care so much for them, come here to Israel so that we can put you in our prisons next to the people that you love and you care for who are evil, and let them have their way with you because you care so much for them, right? Okay, continuing on here. A second victim of the terrorist attack. Okay. A second victim of the suspected terrorist attack in Holon has died after a woman was pronounced dead in a stabbing attack on Sunday, carried out by West Bank Palestinian in 3 separate locations. So basically, I don't know if they got the guy. I don't know if they got the terrorist who murdered a woman and 2 people, right, here. When was this? Yesterday? Or was today? Right? I'm not sure if this was yesterday. It's probably today. So if the terrorist got away, for example, and the terrorist got away, and if the terrorist got away and they catch him later, right, and he lands up in Israeli jails, after what he's done, he has no human rights. And if he lands up in our jail, you know, usually they get neutralized. You know, usually if they catch the guy in action, the terrorist in action, murdering people, they usually neutralize them, which means they kill them. But if they get away and then we catch them, usually they land up in our prisons. So our prisons are overwhelmed by so many terrorists because this is the type of civilization, it's not a civilization because these are the type of barbarians that the Muslim community creates because it's their culture, it seems. Especially the ones in Israel. Not all Muslims, because I'm sure in Saudi Arabia they don't care for terrorism that much, you know. Like they want normalization with Israel. But these people in our prisons are not human beings. These are subhuman trash because of their behavior. And if you stand with them, these are people that murdered innocent men, women, and children. As you can see here, right? It says there's a woman that was killed in Tel Aviv. And I understand you don't see Jewish people as human, but we are human beings and we believe in justice. And if that terrorist gets caught alive, he will end up in our prisons. And if you come and defend his rights as if he has rights. Rights are for people who behave like human beings, and they are civilized human beings that don't hurt innocent people. These people that are terrorists, they come and they murder men, women, and children. They don't have any rights. As soon as they've behaved in that act, they've lost all human rights. So it's completely okay to sodomize them. Completely fine. And I actually encourage that type of behavior towards our prisoners, because most of them are chomos, most of them are they're murderers, they're terrorists, they're bad people. They don't have human rights. And if you stand with them, if you stand with these people who've done the most horrific things to innocent people, and you say, oh, Israel is behaving badly to the terrorists in prison, you stand with them, you deserve to be in the prison with them so that they can do to you what they've done to us, so you can experience it, okay? That's where I stand, right? A second victim of the suspected terrorist attack in Cholon has died after a woman was pronounced dead in a stabbing attack on Sunday, today, carried out by West Bank Palestinian in 3 separate locations in the city just south of Tel Aviv. The assailant was shot by a police officer on the scene. Look, you know, what are they doing in American prisons, right? For instance, like on October 7, all these terrorists, they went and raped little babies, children. Men, women, children, they disemboweled people. They did the most horrific atrocities, which they actually videoed, and you can go watch what they've done. You can go watch what the Gazans have done in a 40-minute clip if you really care to know the truth, right? And so those people that rape children and babies and women, you know, what happens in American prisons is that a lot of the American prisoners, they have done like things like stealing, and they're criminals, right? But one thing they cannot stand is child rapists, women rapists, men who brutalize children, because the children are the most innocent, and the rapists that rape women and children, right? So they don't like them. So what they do is they usually finish them off, right? And they sodomize them, and they do the worst things to these people in prison. That's why, you know, like, a lot of times when they call them chomos, the ones that do bad things to children, and they usually finish them off. They don't have a very high survival rate in American prisons. And so anyone that comes on my channel and says some things like, oh, how could the Israeli people do such a thing to sodomize a terrorist in our prisons who've done the most worst things to children and to the elderly, right? You got problems, and you deserve to be in the prisons next to those terrorists so that you can get their treatment. You can be treated the way they treated us. And then you can come out and talk if you survive, right? That's the punishment that you deserve for standing with evil, right? So, yeah. In a statement, the police said the suspected terrorist was a resident of the West Bank, adding that forces were rushed to the scene and widespread searches were underway, including with the use of a police chopper, to determine that there were no accomplices or other perpetrators still at large. This was a complex terror attack carried out in 3 separate locations at a distance of, so it was planned. So it wasn't one person, it was planned. It was a coordinated attack, right? So, you know, if this is the type of people that are being produced in the West Bank, and they're coordinating, stabbing, mutilating, killing, murdering men, women, and children, innocent civilians. These are the types of people that they produce. I would go and take all those people in the West Bank that have produced this trash, and we need to put them in the Congo, or worse, right? Yeah, that's actually a good point you have. What's the point of sodomizing someone that would probably enjoy it? No, he didn't enjoy it. He cried like a bitch. And I don't think they even sodomized him with their body. They did it with a stick, something like that, you know. So I don't think the Israeli soldiers would ever. They would never stoop to such a level to use themselves to do that on somebody. They would sodomize somebody with an object, you know. And I don't think they would enjoy it. The people who did bad things to children, right, on October 7, the people that did bad things to children on October 7, they would never want it done to themselves. But of course, they don't really care for. They don't. There's, you know, the Jewish thing is don't do unto others what you don't want done to yourself. There's no concept of that in Islam, right? They don't believe in that. So in Christianity, it's more of a thing, right? They don't do unto others. That's more of like a Christian Jewish thing. But, you know, like Islam, they don't have that. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, so it was a complex terrorist attack carried out in 3 separate locations at a distance of some 500 meters, 550 yards apart, all at the same time. Paramedic Rami Musher said, "In the first, we saw a 26-year-old man in moderate condition with a stab wound in the nearby park. We saw a woman in her 70s who was unconscious." Wow. Without a pulse and administered resuscitation, but unfortunately we had to pronounce her dead. Another man was seriously injured and on the Moshe Dayan road. There was another man in his 70s who was transported in critical condition to the Wolfson Medical Center. Yeah, so 4 people were stabbed, right? 2 died, and this is, like, they stab old people. It doesn't matter. They don't care. You know, like, this is who terrorists are. And, you know, I would go and say, you know, like, I would invite anybody who has a wicked streak in them that wants revenge, you know. I would invite them to our prisons, and I would say, have your way with them. Do whatever you want to the terrorists. Do whatever you want, you know. You have my endorsement, right? These people that did the most terrible, inhumane things to civilians, you can have your way with them. Go. You know, like, okay, we don't believe in vigilante justice, but the human rights of the prisoners in Israeli prisons they don't have human rights because they don't deserve it. They forfeited their human rights as soon as they murdered civilians and raped children, right? And that's how it should be in prisons. And in the US prisons, we all know. We all understand, right, what happens to chomos, people who do bad things to children, what happens to them in American prisons. We all know, right? They don't have a very good life in there, you know? Their life expectancy is not high. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yes, I understand people, they like to cry for terrorists. Yeah, a lot of people like to cry for the terrorists and cry human rights. Oh, the Israeli soldiers are now acting just like the people that they hate, right? No. They're not the same, because those Israeli soldiers that would sodomize the terrorist in prison would never ever behave in such a way to a civilian. That's the difference. The difference is there's evil and there's justice, and there is doing things to bad people that they deserve to be done to them, and there's a difference between the bad people doing evil to civilians. That's the difference. And if you can't see the distinction, you got problems, right? And perhaps we need to take you and put you in the prison so that the terrorists can have their way with you. The same that they've done to us, right? It just makes me so angry. Anyway. Continuing on, right? Yeah, I see this argument all the time. You know, like, oh, the Israeli soldiers, it's the same. You see, they're the same. The chosen people. Yeah, you know what the chosen people did in ancient Israel? You know what we did to our enemies, right? We were warriors. We fought evil. We fought the enemies. We were a mighty army. We were powerful, right? And Judaism believes in justice, right? We don't believe in coddling the enemy. It's not moral. We believe in morality, which means you take bad people that do bad things and you do a necessary evil, which is justice, to protect the community, to protect civilians. That's what we believe. If someone comes to kill you, we kill them first. That's how it works. You gotcha. No, don't stick you. No, it's fine. I'm not trying to. Yeah. Okay. So there's one thing that I saw here, right? That I wanted to. Yeah, like the Gaza. The children are dying in Gaza. Yeah. Because the Gazans use their kids as human explosives. They use their kids as human shields. Everybody knows that. It's the truth, and it's not propaganda. Oh, the children in Gaza. Oh, but what about the children in the 12 children? The 12 children that died 2 weeks ago. The 12 children that died a week ago, like last Saturday, right? Oh, they don't care. Oh, it's casualties of war. As if we're at war with Hezbollah. They're starting with us, right? There's no open air prison in Lebanon, right? There's no occupation. There's no occupation in Gaza either. But there's no. What's their problem, right? Oh, they're in solidarity with Gaza, so they're gonna go and kill children who are not even Jewish. Yeah. People are garbage, you know. And humanity, they just show their face for who they are. You know, they come out and they you can see who stands with who and who's garbage, right? So when the time comes, you'll know who is garbage and who's the good people, right? So you can make a distinction to know who's who, right? So you'll know, okay, this person, stay away from. That person is good, and this person stands with evil, right? Okay, so I'm looking for the children, right? The children that were killed by the children that were murdered by the Lebanese. The Druze children that were killed by the Lebanese, right? By the Hezbollah terrorists. Yeah, I'm looking for it. I saw it before. Okay, let's go to J-Post. J-Post. Just makes me so angry that people stand with evil, you know? When you're little, when you're young, you know, it's, you know, like, when I was young, I would kind of, like, I would feel bad, you know? I feel bad for everybody, including bad people, you know? And the predicament that they find themselves in for the consequences of their own actions, you know? In a weird, warped way, you know, you just feel bad for everybody. But as you get older, you're just like, hey, you have to choose your priorities, who you actually care for, you know? Do you care for bad people who do bad things? And, okay, now they might be suffering because they deserve it, but their suffering is justified, you know? Causing suffering to evil people is completely justified. And it's justice, actually, you know? It's just crazy, you know? Like, you gotta choose your priority. You gotta choose what you consider, like, bad and good, right? Do I use JDate? No, I'm off of JDate. Stop bullying me. Biden scolds Netanyahu in hostage deal talks. That's hilarious. Biden, you're the president. You're not a child. No one can bully you. You're in an authoritative position, and if you can be bullied, you should not be in office. Biden, right? There is a thing with the. Okay, so this guy, family of murdered hostage of Eitan Levy, published his video of the body of him, the mob, right? So basically, everybody's like, they pretend that the Gazans are such sweet, kind people that are, they're civil people, and they deserve human rights, and they're suffering, and they consider everything that happens to the Gazans as if it's like, they care so much for them without understanding who these people are. It's like, you know, like, in any society where you have people that form a mob in a split second, there's something wrong with that society, right? So this guy that was murdered, they murdered his body. They took this guy into Gaza and they videoed him being murdered and his body being abused, right? So there's actual footage about what they've done to him, and they published it. And so people are okay with this type of thing. People are okay with barbaric behavior to an innocent person, right? And they're okay with it, you know, like, and the footage is online. I don't want to show it to you because I'll either get a strike or It's just unpleasant. I can't stomach it. It's too much for me. Do you know what I'm saying? It's too much for me. I won't be able to sleep at night. Already I can't sleep, but now it's going to be even worse, right? So, Eitan, a taxi driver from Bat Yam, was not from the south and was only in the area on October 7th to deliver a passenger to Kibbutz Be'eri down south. So he was a taxi driver. The family of a murdered hostage, Eitan Levy, so they took him hostage. They published the footage of his body being abused in the streets of Gaza on October 7 to their Instagram account on Saturday. In the footage, Eitan's body is seen being dragged into Gaza in the back of a car, followed by a crowd of Gazans chasing the vehicle. This is who they are. This is who the Gazans are. They're barbarians. They're not good people. The society's rotten. They're like Saddam and Gomorrah. You know, like this. What did God do to the city of Saddam? Right? He deleted it. Right? And so this is who they are. You know, they deserve to be, you know, but people, they like evil, so they are allowing them to live, right? So the footage, which has been blurred, is graphic. So here is, I'm not sure if you can see, yeah, here's the picture of the guy that they took him in the back. They took his body, they murdered him, they took him hostage into Gaza. This is his body in the back of a car, and they paraded his body for all to see while they all abused his corpse, right? So this is who the Gazans are, right? So graphic content warning. This is a, you want to play? Asby wants to play. Asby wants to play. So this is a shocking video of October 7, the kidnapping of Eitan Levy, who was murdered and kidnapped to Gaza, where his body was brutally lynched in the plaza of a mosque. In a mosque, right? Yeah, this in their holy places, and they murdered Jews in the name of their holy God, right? These are the innocent civilians of Gaza. 43 weeks have passed, but we won't forgive or forget for a moment. Eitan and all the hostages must be returned, and every single one of these purveyors of death must be destroyed. Amen, right? So, yeah. So if you can go and you can watch it, you know, maybe I should put this in the, you can go and watch it, you know. All the footage is out there. You know, everybody says, oh, October 7 never happened. Oh, there's no footage of anything. There's no proof, yeah? If you want to go, you can go and find the proof of the brutality of the Muslims in Gaza, right? The Gazans. They're barbarians. These people, they're not human beings. This is not human behavior. You'll never see Israelis running around taking Muslims, even if they're terrorists. You'll never find them taking Muslims and brutalizing them. You'll never, ever see that. We should, right? But it's not part of our culture, right? So, wow. So, at the request of the Levy family, the foreign ministry shared the footage on X, formerly Twitter, as well. In this video, a mob of Gazans abuse and desecrate Eitan's body, which hangs out of a car trunk. The ministry wrote, "Imagine if these were your neighbors. May Eitan's memory be for blessing." So imagine if you have neighbors that have no problem, like, murdering people and desecrating bodies and brutalizing bodies that are dead already, and, like, these are your neighbors. Like, that's who we're dealing with, right? Like, you know, and you're okay with this? Like, okay, if you're okay with that, you got problems, right? And if you go and defend the Gazans after what they've done to us on October 7, you're part of the problem, and I hope what's coming to you is what you deserve, right? So, Eitan, a taxi driver from Bat Yam, was not from the south and was only in the area on October 7th to deliver a passenger to Kibbutz Be'eri. After dropping the passenger off, Eitan tried to leave but was hit by either a missile or a drone while on the phone with his son. He then ran into a Hamas ambush. His family heard terrorists approach and kidnap Eitan, with multiple voices arguing in Arabic being heard on the phone. It was later revealed that Eitan had been forced to sit and identify himself before the phone was disconnected. It was unclear what happened next, but on December 8th, it was confirmed that he was murdered by Hamas terrorists, and his body was being held by the Islamic organization in Gaza. Levy's family have decided to release the footage as proof that there is no innocent citizen in Gaza. There are no innocent civilians in Gaza. None. Them and their children. The family called for the release of the remaining hostages. Yeah, this is what we're dealing with. The civilians, there's no civilians in Gaza. Perhaps a few babies that are not being used as human shields. Perhaps they can be considered innocent, but they use their children as human explosives. So there's that society is rotten. It is rotten. They're just a bunch of sodomites. That's all they are. It is so important that these videos are released. Someone comments. those tabs and bookmarks look like mine. Is this normal? I have apparently 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27, just 27 tabs, because I have lots of projects that I need to do. I have 2 other channels, and I have lots of things that I have to do research on. For example, like, I still have Freud open because of, I have this complete book here, and I think I completed what I needed to complete with it, but there's still things I need to talk about. There is this, this is the book I'm reading on my other channel. This is movies. This is, oh yeah, I still have to do there's a book written about the blood libel, right? How the Christians accuse us of murdering their children for their blood, right? So it's a book about that. So I have to dissect that. Here's more about blood libels I have to speak about. And this is a list of the blood libels and the massacres that were done by the Christians on us, which I'm not done yet. I have a lot more to do. This is, let's see what this is. I'm waiting for the internet. Oh, the history of the blood libel, yeah. It's written by someone really good. This is a history of the Jews of Spain. I have to talk about, this is a list of the philosophers I still need to cover, right? Somebody told me about the Deciphiles, so I have to look into that. This is Abravanel. Yeah, I spoke about Abravanel. He was the great philosopher that I made a video of, but I'm not done talking about him. I still need to cover, you know. And then this talks about peace between Jews and Muslims, if it ever was. There was a time of peace, right? Female boxer yells, "This is unjust," right? So we covered that. I spoke about it in my other video, like how this dude who has 0 boobs went and decimated his female opponent, right? Which is unfair. He basically is a thief. He stole the money and a woman's career from her. Because it's not fair. You can't have a dude go and fight against a female and steal her money. You know, like $30,000 if she won against another woman. So 2 women have a chance to win money, but this dude stole from women her rightful money, right? So it's disgusting. It is wrong. It is unjust, right? We have the end of Spanish Jewry here, which I want to talk about also because we were covering what happened to Abravanel. Abravanel, who he was a philosopher who lived in Spain, and he was kicked out of Spain with his he was kicked out of Spain with the rest of the Jews, right, by the king at the time. This is my other channel. I still need to do, like, what I have to do is more readings on politics. This as well. The blood libels. Right? We were accused of well poisoning, right? So, well poisoning. That's what we were accused of in the Black Plague, right? The bubonic plague, we were accused of doing the most... We were accused of causing it, right? Of course, without evidence, and we're accused of something that we didn't do. And because of that, Jews were murdered. Entire Jewish people were killed, you know? This is one of the reasons why there's so little Jews in the world and we're a minority, because we are always being picked on, displaced, and murdered. So that's why there's only 15 million left today. This is something I'm going to continue today. After I'm done the news, I'm going to talk about the myths, right, of the Jews, and how we were accused of controlling the banks, and how we're accused of causing all the wars, like Redbeard likes to accuse us of, right? Such Jew haters, it's unbelievable. They all get exposed, strangely. They all get exposed after they accuse us. Like my moderator, I thought he was a nice guy, you know? And I thought he was a nice guy. And he comes and says, your kind are the ones who cause all the wars. And then he adds, oh, no, not all the, not you, all religions. Oh, okay, trying to save his face. It's fine. Half Spanish Jewry, yeah. There's Mizrahi Jews, there's Spanish Jews, there's Ashkenazi Jews, there's all different kinds of Jews, right? So, okay, so 2 killed and 2 others wounded in a Cologne stabbing attack. A 66-year-old woman, Rina Davniv, her husband, Shimon Daniv, is in serious condition. So, a woman was killed, her husband was in serious condition. And another person was murdered, right? Let's see if we can see the pictures, right? It's crazy. It's I'm telling you, it's like these Muslims are a thorn at our side, literally. You know, like they are literally like a thorn at our side. They can't just live in peace. They can't just enjoy their lives and be civil. You know, they have to murder us. They have to murder us. It's their hobby. You know, they have nothing else to do other than, you know, like most of them, they're on like, they get paid. They get lots of money paid for slay, right? Okay. Wow. Do Palestinians in Gaza still support Hamas 9 months into the war? Let's go see that. Oh, I was always ideologically opposed to Hamas, but today I stand with them against this occupier Israel, who has killed women and children, destroyed home, and turned Gaza back 100 years. Right. So let's go see what these lunatics say. Palestinians in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, gave mixed opinions about Hamas, with many showing support. When asked about their views on the terror group, the October 7 attacks, and the Israel-Hamas war, a July BBC Arabic's report showed. According to the report, the BBC Arabic team entered Gaza 9 months into the Israeli-Hamas war, which began following the October 7 Hamas attacks, and spoke to several Palestinians. The BBC reportedly also reached out to Hamas leaders for comment, but received no response by the time the report was published. When one Palestinian in Gaza was asked if he supports Hamas, he responded that he did, but he believed that the October 7 attacks were miscalculated. What does that mean? While the occupation in Israel is the one killing us, and I support the resistance, Hamas, right? The way the war was imposed on us as a result of this attack should have been better studied for its repercussions, he said. You don't say. Next time, don't murder Jews if you don't want to be plunged into a war, you idiot. Another Palestinian in Gaza viewed the October 7 attack as a natural manifestation of the conflictual relationship between the colonizer and the colonized. There was no colonization in Gaza, for fuck's sake. There was no freaking colonization. In 2005, the Jews left Gaza completely, leaving Gaza in the hands of the Muslims there. There was no occupation. There was nothing. There was no colonization and no occupation. Even if, okay, there's arguments on whether we in Israel are colonizing Israel, when it's indeed our country, our land. We're just decolonizing it, but how could they claim such a thing when they have Gaza in their control completely? It's ridiculous. But this just goes to show that the Muslims, they cannot rule themselves. They can't rule themselves. They're not capable of ruling themselves. Another Palestinian Gaza viewed October 7 as a relationship characteristic of all people resisting occupation. The attack results from a series of policies imposed by Israel. Right. Okay, it's all because of us. Right. So anything that might have happened, like, okay, Israel didn't allow certain explosives to enter into Gaza because we don't want them to have weapons to kill us, right? Oh, because of that, murdering, raping, and decimating entire Jewish villages is completely justified, right? This is the Muslim mindset. But you know what? That's what happened to them in Gaza. Now they are, they've decimated us on October 7th. Now there's a war in Gaza. Now they are paying the price, even though they're not paying enough of a price, because I believe what happened to Sodom, right? What happened to Sodom, right? Sodom and Gomorrah, right? The evil society there. They were, what happened to them. I believe in Gaza that's something that must be done to them, right? Because of their crimes. They are not really, they need to be, I think we need to take them and put them in the Congo. They don't belong in Israel, right? They don't belong. They don't have any human rights. They are uncivilized barbarians. That's who they are, right? Hamas destroyed us by launching the October 7 attack, the Khan Yunis Palestinians explained. describing the harsh living conditions she and her family, including a newborn baby, have been faced with. You know what? It's their kids. They all support this. They love doing the most atrocious things to us. This is our enemy. They are bad people. They're evil. Other Palestinians in Gaza share the same view and describe the destruction that Hamas has inflicted on them. A man given the alias name Mahmoud said yeah, they're all Mahmouds. Yeah, they all have, they're all Mahmouds. A man given the alias name Mahmoud said that external support for Hamas is disgusting, especially from supporters in Jordan and Lebanon, who sees the events in Gaza as positive. Right, so some Muslims are waking up to their senses. Wow, that's shocking. I'm shocked, right? I need to be shocked that the Muslims in Gaza, some of them are, oh, they're turning on Hamas. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. What is happening in Gaza is an internal matter, and no Arab citizen has a right to support Hamas. If you want to support it, take it, or come see the war and bombing horrors. Try seeing your child shivering from fear, Mahmoud added. Yet, a Palestinian, given the alias Abu Salah, said he fully supports Hamas despite the humanitarian conditions in Gaza. First of all, there's no famine in Gaza. They are fat. The men have man boobs. They all look healthy, you know? Like, for a war-torn area, like, they all look well-fed and healthy, and they are, like, they're being spoon-fed everything, and, you know, yes, okay, they've lost their homes, but, you know, for a war, right, most people would go and be starving, or, like, there would be much worse conditions, disease, you know, like the entire, like, what happened in the Holocaust, right, like, the Jews were dying of disease, right, in the camps, what happened to a lot of the people in the war in Germany, right, during World War II, right, a lot of them got sick from famine, they had no food, and there was disease, they were dropping like flies. In Gaza, no. They're all fine. They have vaccines. They have everything they need, you know, like, after their crimes. Like, this is justice? That the Gazans that supported this is a collective crime. The civilians, they came into Israel, and the civilians took part in this. You know, like, this is a collective crime. And they're not getting collective punishment, as they should. This is not justice, right? That them and their children are being spoon-fed, and they're well-fed, and they're fat, and they're happy. You know, like, they don't feel the effects of war. They don't feel the effects of terror or sadness, anything. This is not justice. Unbelievable. Yet, a Palestinian given the alias of Abu Salah said he fully supports Hamas despite the humanitarian conditions in Gaza, and gave an opposing view, saying that the war is what caused him to begin supporting the terror group. Crazy. I was always ideologically opposed to Hamas, but today I stand with them against this occupier Israel. They're sick, right? Who has killed women and children, right? Destroyed homes and turned Gaza back 100 years. No, you turned yourself back 100 years, you freak. Freaks. The J Post says opinion in Gaza is mixed, right? The Jerusalem Post here says opinions in Gaza is mixed. No, it's not mixed. They all support the terrorist group Hamas. It's a collective. They are collectively responsible for what they did to us on October 7. Them and their children. Right. The J Post says opinion in Gaza is mixed, not according to opinion polls, which shows consistent support for Hamas, and specifically for the murder of October 7th. Among the great majority of the Palestinians, an article like this, which muddies that which should be clear, hides the truth. Why? Because the J Post has supported and still supports a deal to return the hostages, even at the cost of leaving Hamas in place. If you believe that Gazans reject Hamas, or that their opinion about Hamas is mixed, then leaving Hamas in place might not be the worst thing in the world. That is most definitely not my view, but it is the view supported in this article. I'm not understanding. For example, one Gaza, Abu Salah by name, says he was always ideologically opposed to Hamas, but now due to the war supports Hamas and opposes Israel. Indeed, the entire Gazan people were ideologically opposed to Hamas, but now they supportive. Now they all supportive, yeah. But did you see the thousands of Gazans who joined in on October 7th? Right? The Gazan civilians, you know, they are not innocent. If you watch those videos about how they took bodies into the centers of Gaza, and how all the Gazans collectively came in and abused the corpses of the Jews, of these innocent people that they kidnapped from the Nova Music Festival, from the South, right? Like, they are not innocent people. It's a collective crime, which demands a collective punishment, right? And it's just common sense. It's common sense. It's infuriating. Like, the Gazans, they are brain dead. They are brain damaged. And what do you do when somebody's brain dead and brain damaged? What do you do with them? You pull the plug, right? That's what you do in normal circumstances. Somebody's brain dead, brain damaged. They'll never come out of a coma, you know? Usually, common sense, most people, what they would do is pull the plug, right? I say pull the plug on Gaza. We should have done that first day. Wow. Okay, stop bullshitting me. Oh. Okay, in addition to the tense exchange between Netanyahu and U.S. officials, new information has surfaced about Netanyahu's discussions with Israeli security leaders. The conversation between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the U.S. President Joe Biden that took place this week saw the Israeli leader tell Biden, "We are making progress with the negotiations. Send a delegation," Channel 12 reveals on Saturday. Biden's blunt reply was, "Stop bullshitting me." In addition to the tense exchange between Netanyahu and U.S. officials, new information has surfaced about Netanyahu's discussion with Israeli security leaders. Whatever. Biden's not all there. Okay, so I want to see what I really want to see is Netanyahu next to Kamala Harris. I want to see them speaking to each other, right? Okay, so Iran plans to attack Israel on Tisha B'Av, the Jewish day of disaster, right? So there is a day that's coming up where there's 2 times a year where Jewish people actually, pull the plug, exactly. Exactly, Deja, you're listening. There's 2 times a year when Jews are basically, it's the mandatory fast, right? 2 times a year. Tisha B'Av, which is coming up, it's in August. We're in August now. It's on the 13th of August, right? So it's in a few days, right? It's in like a week and a half. We have to fast the whole entire day, like from nightfall to the next day after nightfall, right? And Yom Kippur. So there's two times a year when there are 2 fasts that are mandatory for Jewish people, and it's because the Yom Kippur fast is because the day of repentance. We all go to synagogue, and the day of then there's Tisha B'Av, which is the day when the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. The Holy Temple was destroyed, and the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, the Holy Temple, and many disasters befell on the Jews throughout history on that day. So it was considered that's the day we fast. We fast on Tisha B'Av, and we go to synagogue and we do lamentations about what happened, how the Jewish people, they were overtaken, the temple was destroyed, and there was a famine, and like mothers ate their children, and because it was that bad, they were that starving, and all the disasters that came upon us. And right, so Iran wants to attack us on our worst day. This is who the enemy is. They're vengeful, they're evil, they hate us so much, they hate Jews. It's their doctrine, it's their religion, it's a religious war. So they're evil, right? How do Hamas and Iran explain Hania's death? You want to know how they explain it? Let's go see. This is delicious because when evil is blotted out, it's cause for celebration, right? So, how does Hamas and Iran explain Hania's death? Report. The Al Arabi report concluded that in the absence of a comprehensive official narrative, the execution of Ismail Hania's assassination remains mysterious. Oh, really? So mysterious. It's reported that Israel knew he was going to be in the place 2 months earlier, and they planted a bomb there where he was going to be, in Tehran, right? So, following the assassination of former Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh, there have been differing reports by Hamas and Iran regarding how he was killed. According to Saturday's report by the Arabic news outlet Al Arabi, the overall verdict was that Haniyeh was killed by an explosive device that was secretly smuggled into the guest house in Tehran, and not by an airstrike. The New York Times reported the Jerusalem Post independently confirmed. However, among Arab media, there have been differing speculations about the method behind his death. According to Iran's Fars news agency, managed by the Islamic Revolution Guard, it was reported on Wednesday that something targeted the residents without specifying its nature. Khalid Kadumi, Hamas's representative in Tehran, said that the assassination occurred through the targeting of Hania's room with an aerial projectile, citing the explosive's impact on the room. In an interview with Al Arabi on Friday, Kadumi recounted that after attending the inauguration ceremony of Iran's new president, Masoud Pezeshkian, Hania returned to his residence in northern Tehran, which was not secret and was known to many people, reserved for senior guests. At exactly 1:37 a.m., the building experienced a shock. Kadumi continued, "I left the place I was in and saw thick smoke. Later we learned that Hajj Abu al-Abid Hania had been martyred." They're all martyrs, right? The shock was so intense that I thought it was thunder or an earthquake. I opened the window but saw no rain or thunder. The weather was hot. We went to the 4th floor, where the martyr was, and found that the wall and ceiling of the room had collapsed and been destroyed. He continued, "Aw, I feel so bad." I arrived here to pester you as a Jew. Now I'm studying to improve my skills. LOL, so funny. The shock was so intense that he thought it was an earthquake, right? The appearance of the place, well, if that's how you feel, danger, then I would love to put you in the same cell as a terrorist that did bad things to children and let him have their way with you. And if you cry, oh well, right? The appearance of the place after the attack and the condition of the martyr leader, Ismail Hania's body clearly indicated that the targeting was by an aerial projectile, whether a missile or a shell. Kadumi refrained from providing more details, saying, "Specialized technical teams from our brothers in the Islamic Republic are conducting investigations and will announce the results later." Yeah, so I feel like to remedy people like you, Danger, whatever, 593, to put you in the same cell as the terrorists, and let them have their way with you, and then we'll see how smug and happy you are after that. Right? We'll see how happy and smug you are after you get the same treatment that they've given us, right? Kadumi's remark was consistent with what Khalil al-Hayya, senior head of Hamas in Gaza, stated in a press conference on Wednesday, hours after Hania's assassination. He said that a missile directly hit the room where Hania was staying, and we await the official investigations. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever. He's dead. Who cares? He's dead. Who cares? Thank God, you know? It is certain that the Ayatollahs personally have not yet been a target, but that will quickly change in an attack on the Israeli civilian population. Right, so if they attack us, then they're gonna go after them. Israelis, the IDF will go after them. We may assume that Israel is closely following the movements of these religious leaders, and it follows that these old religious leaders will no longer live in their own homes, but deep underground every night. This seems to me an unpleasant life, bad for physical and mental health. The fact is, of course, that they have brought this upon themselves, of course, right? So, basically, the thing with these terrorist leaders, right, is that they know their days are numbered, right? They know it. And a lot of time, it's hard for Israel to actually implement killing these bad people, right, and actually catching them in action, killing them in a way where they can just target them and take them out, you know, to be able to stop terrorism from continuing. Because, like, this guy, Hania, was responsible for thousands of Jewish people's deaths, as well as USA military forces that were murdered by this guy as well. Not only this guy, there was another guy that was taken out, right? So, these are, like, bad people. And so, what's the point, right? What's the point? What's the point, right? What's the point? What's the point, right? What was I getting at? What was I getting at? Right? Yeah. What was I getting at? Okay. Like, literally, these terrorists, they took our babies. Like, they took our babies. They kidnapped babies. Like, babies. This baby here. They took the mother. They took the 2 children. They took the father. We don't know where they are. They took them hostage. Babies. Who does that, right? They say, oh, Israel have Palestinian children in their prison. We don't have babies. There's no babies in our prisons. Lunatics. Lunatics, you. All of you. Crazy nutcases. Yarden and Ariel Bibas, who are both still in Hamas captivity. Yeah, they stole babies. And how do we know it's true, right? It's because they produced the hostages, right? They produced them in a hostage exchange, right? And Biden went and held one of the hostage babies, like a 3-year-old, that they took hostage. Like, this is what we're dealing with. This is the Gazans, right? Like, oh, the poor Gazans, yeah, the poor Gazans stealing babies. You know, I feel like all those people that are pro-Gazans, they need to live with the Gazans just for a little bit, you know, to get a taste of what it's like, you know, to live with these monsters. Okay, so I wanted to see, hold on, I wanted to see, where am I? Let's go to I-24 news. Rocket barrages from southern Gaza direct targets southern Israel. Really? So now they still have the power in Gaza to send rockets? What? I thought Hamas is decimated. Rocket barrage from southern Gaza targets southern Israel. IDF soldiers seriously wounded in Gaza. Pull the plug on Gaza. Just pull it. Pull the plug. I don't understand why we're sending our soldiers into hand-to-hand combat with these lunatic, crazy, evil, wicked monsters. You know, just pull the plug, man. Do aerial bombings. You know, don't send our soldiers into enemy territory where they just want to murder us. It makes no sense. It goes against logic, right? Israel on alert amid fears of Iranian retaliation to elimination of top Hezbollah and Hamas leaders. Hamas reportedly in consultations to select replacement for Ismail Haniyeh, killed in Tehran. Oh, so they need to find somebody else to lead them. You know? Their leader was taken out, so now they have to find another leader, right? Without their leaders, they're nothing, right? That's how it works with these terrorists. Israel-Hamas war, day 303. About 30 rockets were fired into Israeli territory overnight, with northern communities at high level of readiness amid the threat of a large-scale retaliation to the assassinations of Hamas's Ismail Haniyeh and Hezbollah Fouad Shukr. Yes, the Fouad Shukr was responsible for the murder of American troops, and America was trying to get him for the past 20 years. And now we got him. And America promised like a huge reward, of millions of dollars. So I wonder who's going to get paid. Right? Hamas and Iran have blamed Israel for the attack that killed Haniyeh, although Israel has not commented on it. Who else would have killed him, right? Like, who else? Okay, so this is the rockets that are coming in. Rocket barrages from Gaza to southern Israeli communities. This is a war crime, sending in, into our civilian population with the intent to kill civilians. This is a crime, which nobody cares. Nobody cares that there's 1 million refugees within Israel that can't live in their homes in the north or the south. Nobody cares, because it's Jews. Jews don't matter. Jewish lives don't matter. Right?
Genesis. سيروا من تقوية الشعر.
Oh, shut up. Shut up. Can't stand this. Okay. Yeah, that's that. Let's go see what else they have. Right? As Israel braces for Iranian attack, U.S. to deploy more warships. Why? Why are they bringing their warships here near us? Why? U.S. to deploy more warships, fighter jets to the Mideast. The U.S. and Israel preparing for Iran to make good on its vow to respond to the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. Oh yeah, so this one guy, his name is, he was in jail for 30 years for espionage, right? And his name is Jonathan Pollard. And the Americans stuck him in jail, and basically, he says that, there were all the leaders of Iran, they all went to the funeral of this Haniya, right, guy, this terrorist, Hamas terrorist leader. They were all there, so he's questioning, like, why didn't they just take out the entire, why didn't they just, like, all the leaders, the terrorist leaders were all in one spot. It's the perfect time to take them out, right? Why didn't Israel do that, right? Like, that's what he was questioning, and I asked the same question, why not? Why didn't they do that? Israel could have just taken all the leaders out, all the terrorist leaders that are responsible for murdering people. It's such an easy shot, you know? I don't know why they didn't take them out. Like, why wouldn't they take them out? Like, it makes no sense, right? So, it makes me laugh because it would have been an easy shot, right? The U.S. military will deploy additional fighter jets and Navy warships to the Middle East, the Pentagon said Friday, as Washington seeks to bolster defenses following threats from Iran and its proxy Hezbollah. The U.S. and Israel are bracing for Iran to make good on its vow to respond to the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh 2 days ago in Tehran, one in a series of killings senior figures in the Palestinian terror group as the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza rages. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has approved sending additional Navy cruisers and destroyers, which can shoot down ballistic missiles to the Middle East and Europe. The U.S. is also sending an additional squadron of fighter jets to the Middle East. Austin has ordered adjustments to the U.S. military posture designed to improve U.S. force protection, to increase support for the defense of Israel, and to ensure the United States is prepared to respond to various contingencies, the Pentagon stated. The U.S. military also intensified deployment prior to April 13, when Iran launched an attack on Israel's territory with drones and missiles. Still, the threat from Hezbollah in Lebanon could present unique challenges to any efforts by the United States to intercept drones and missiles given the group's vast arsenal and immediate proximity to Israel. At the time, Israel successfully knocked down almost all of the roughly 300 drones and missiles with the help of the United States and other allies. There were more than 300 drones, right? Okay, oh yeah, so what I wanted to see was Kamala Harris. Let's go see let's see Kamala Harris and, oh yeah, this is my Rumble account, right? Rumble. Okay, I want to go to see Kamala Harris with Netanyahu. Let's go see. Kamala Harris tells Ben Netanyahu it's time to end the war. She is such a lunatic, this lady. I tell you, anybody that will vote for her is a moron and a loser and an idiot, you know? But it's okay.
Kamala Harris on Thursday said she pressured Israel's leader to help reach a...
let's go see the body language. Let's go see. I can't. This is something that, according to my cards, right? Kamala Harris is a coward, right?
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris on Thursday said she pressured Israel's leader to help reach a Gaza ceasefire deal, striking a tougher tone than...
Oh, she likes him. She's scared of him. She's like a little pussy cat, and he likes her. I think he likes her because he thinks he can manipulate her. But the problem is he's underestimating her. You know, she's scared of him, according to my cards, and he kind of likes her. Because who doesn't like somebody who's just constantly high? You know, like, she's obviously, I don't know if she's high. She just looks like somebody who is just there to have a party. She doesn't have any real, besides for her being a bad person, you know, because she stands with the Gazans, who are bad people, and besides for her also hating minorities and doing bad things to black people, right? Besides for her loving criminals and allowing the immigrants to come into America and murder Americans, besides for all that, right? She looks like a joke. She acts like a joke. She's not somebody who should be in a leading position.
Deal, striking a tougher tone than President Joe Biden.
Can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't.
Striking a tougher tone than President.
I gotta see the way she smiles at him.
Ceasefire deal. Striking a tougher tone than President Joe Biden.
The first.
She's so tough. She's so tough. The only reason why she doesn't really care what goes on in Gaza. The only reason why she's taking a tough stance is to appease her Jew-hating audience. Do you know what I'm saying? And the fact that she actually met him at all, I'm surprised because, you know, how could she meet Nazi Netanyahu? Because after all, that's what the Jew-haters like to put on him is a swastika, you know?
First phase of the deal would bring about a full ceasefire, including a withdrawal of the Israeli military.
You know what, Kamala? Since you care for the Gazans so much, why don't you go there yourself and have a discussion with them? Or nay, just go live with them, you know?
From population centers in Gaza. In the second phase, the Israeli military would withdraw from Gaza entirely, and it would lead to a permanent end to the hostilities. It is time for this war to end.
Oh, did she laugh? Did she try to suppress laughter in the end?
It was part of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to Washington, D.C.
Which she snubbed, which is a complete and total disrespect to the Jews.
He earlier addressed lawmakers in Congress and met with the U.S. President.
That's not. People think that that Joe Biden. He has lots of doubles, you know. So
The ceasefire has
he looks like he's wearing a mask, you know. Like Joe Biden looks like he's wearing a mask.
been the subject of negotiations for months. U.S. officials believe the parties are closer than ever before to a deal for a
You see, this is how we're fighting. We're going door to door to weed out the terrorists because Israel doesn't want to send in like bombs, so like to limit civilian casualties. But this type of war is costing us, our people who are dying, because this is more dangerous to send soldiers into hand-to-hand combat with these monsters, right? And we don't get credit anyway for trying to limit civilian casualties, which there's no civilians in Gaza, but you know, you get the point, right? So
6-week ceasefire in exchange for Hamas releasing some hostages. A White House readout said Biden met with Netanyahu earlier and told him that he needed to close gaps to reach a ceasefire and remove obstacles in the
look how they all gather around. Like they're like a bunch of, they're wild.
flow of aid.
Gaza.
While Harris, who is now the likely
You see, their babies are, you know, like they don't care for their babies. I don't believe the Gazans deserve to have children, and I think any children that they have, they need to be confiscated. We need to take their babies away because they abuse their children by using them as human shields, putting them in danger, and by they take their babies and use them as human explosives, right? They don't deserve to have children.
Democratic presidential nominee mostly echoed Biden in firmly backing Israel's right to defend itself. But she made clear on Thursday that she was losing patience with Israel's military approach.
Listen, let Kamala go live with these people and their children and see how they treat her, you know? Because she's not Muslim. Let her go and see how they treat her. Let her go live with these civilians, you know?
That made clear my serious concern. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering.
What about the suffering of the Jews here in Israel? 12 children killed. Silence, crickets, you know? She's a hypocrite.
And
like the rest of you Jew
be
haters. And will not be silent. She is scared of Netanyahu. She met him and it was like a little girl in a tutu, you know? This is what they've done to us on October 7th.
October 7th, when Hamas militants attacked Israel, killing 1,000.
They stole dead bodies. Like, look here. Like, Hamas, they took this guy that they shot. Like, here's these dead people, right? That they shot on October 7th. And they stole the dead bodies to use as leverage against us. Like, this is the type of garbage they are. And, oh, famine in Gaza. Look how fat. Look at this fat pig here. Another fat pig, you know? Like, this is what we're dealing with. And she cares so much for their suffering. They're not suffering. They are eating like pigs in Gaza. And they're not being punished enough as far as I'm concerned.
200 people and taking more than 200.
Like, this is who they are. Like, stealing corpses. Not only do they steal corpses, they raped them too.
50 hostages. The Gaza conflict has splintered the Democratic Party.
Oh yeah, now they're making fun of Netanyahu, yeah. She's scared of she's not okay. She's not strong enough to be on the world stage, and she is she's afraid of him. She's a coward. She's really a coward, and the only reason why she takes her stance on Gaza is to appease her Jew-hating audience, because she wants their votes, as we all know, right? Oh my god. What a shit show. This is a serious shit show. Unbelievable, right? Okay, going back. I'm getting like notifications of rocket fire, right? Every like minute, there's like another rocket. If I show you here. You can't trust anything that Gazans say, you know. Their information comes from the Hamas Health Ministry, right? Okay, here, look. I'm getting notifications because there's a war here, and there are rockets coming in from who knows where, from Gaza and from the north. Every minute I get a notification. So if I'm in any of those areas, which is like 2 hours away from me, up north, 2 hours down south, I would have to run to a bomb shelter. But thank God it's not in my area, so, right? Anyway. Kamala Harris is like, she is like a little girl in a tutu. She's not capable of, she was too afraid to, debate Trump. The debate is coming up, right? The debate on September 4th is supposed to be a debate between Kamala and Trump, and he's going to wipe her ass bad. He's going to wipe the floor with her ass. And she's not looking forward to it because she's not prepared. She's not prepared for the job, for the world stage. Regardless of her opinions, whether she is, even, for instance, even if she were a person who was pro-Israel and loved Jews and cared for humanity and cared to put bad people away, and even if she had the best policies in the world, she is not a person that is ready for the job. She is not strong enough. She's weak. And, you know, like, I wouldn't either be able to do that job either, because you have to be somebody that is very tough, you know, and she just doesn't get it. She doesn't have it. Okay. Breaking news. Rocket sirens blare in Upper Galilee region of northern Israel. Right, yeah, so, okay, let's go see. What is this? Okay, so, flat belly in your 60s. Have a bunch of fat, ugly men. Fat, old, ugly men. Okay. Excuse me. IDF prosecution requests to extend remand of reservists in custody over claims of abusing prisoners. Like, this is our government. They care more for the terrorists than for our own soldiers who have families that were murdered on October 7th, right? Like, they care for the human rights of the prisoners. They don't deserve, our prisoners, the terrorists in our prisons don't deserve human rights. They should be raped, they should be sodomized, and they should be killed. They don't deserve to live after their crimes against children, against humanity. War crimes against humanity. And this is who they care for. It's sick. It's sick. It's upside down. It's afuch, right? Major rocket barrage from Lebanon triggers Iron Dome's interceptions. Okay, right? Okay, let's go see what's next. East Jerusalem imam detained after eulogizing Hania as a martyr. Let's go see that. Right? Let's go see. Let's go see this. This is going to be good. The imam has been investigated by the police for incitement on previous occasions. Israeli police on Friday opened an investigation into an imam suspected of making incitement statements and supporting terrorism during a sermon given earlier in the day in the Temple Mount. Right? So even these Arabs who have Israeli citizenship, they want to kill us. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is who they are. It's wild. Okay, let's see what they say here.
Have you always wanted to be a great singer? Hey there, I'm Alexander Stewart, a singer here on YouTube.
I want to introduce my guests in studio now. We're joined by our senior I-24 News correspondent Bianca Zanini, political and international security analyst Martin Himmel, and our Middle East new. At this point, though, it's a...
Others are still clear if this...
Whatever. Boring. 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 Okay. Hezbollah reportedly evacuates command center from southern Beirut. Okay. Rocket barrage from southern Gaza targets southern Israel. U.S. CENTCOM commander in Israel to prepare for Iran. Something. Yeah. IDF confirms striking terrorist Houthi regime in Yemen. Very nice. Yes. Okay. U.S. downs 3 drones in Houthi-controlled area in Yemen. Jordanian authorities discover explosives planted by Iranian agents. The operation, which underscores a significant threat to the kingdom's security, revealed that the explosives were part of an Iran-linked plot aimed at destabilizing Jordan. So there's, you see, the king of Jordan, everyone's trying to overthrow him, you know, because he has, like, there are so many terrorists in Jordan that hate Jews, hate Israel, and he's trying to uphold a peace agreement that they've made, that Jordan has made, you know, since the wars that they've had with us. And the people inside his government, the people inside of Jordan, they want to overthrow him, dethrone him. That's what they want to do. And so it's a problem. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a problem he has, because he doesn't want a war with Israel. He's not interested. He seems like a better type of person. Like, he doesn't want to get involved in wars, unnecessary wars, which he has no connection to, right? So, the operation, which underscores a significant threat to the kingdom's security, revealed that the explosives are part of that, right? So, Jordanian security forces announced late Monday night the discovery and safe detonation of explosives hidden in a commercial warehouse in an industrial zone southeast of Amman. The operation, which underscores a significant threat to the kingdom's security, revealed that the explosives were part of an Iran-linked plot aimed at destabilizing Jordan. The announcements follows a similar find on Saturday, when security forces uncovered explosives in a residential area near a military airport utilized by U.S. military planes. According to the Jordanian authorities, explosives from both locations were planted by the same group, which has been linked to Iran's clandestine efforts to recruit agents for sabotage activities within Jordan. Wow. Security sources quoted by Reuters indicated that the quantities of explosives found suggests the incident was terror-related. This conclusion has led authorities to believe the plot is part of broader Iranian strategies to destabilize a key ally of Washington in the region. Right? So it looks like Jordan is trying to make peace with America, Israel. While the authorities have not yet disclosed specific details regarding the individuals or groups behind the plot, or whether any arrests have been made, they assured that more information will be provided once investigations are completed. So this is advanced weapons caught by Israeli security forces, thwarting an Iranian attempt to smuggle the weapons into the West Bank. The recent discovery is not the first instance of alleged Iranian attempts to destabilize Jordan. In March, Jordanian authorities foiled a suspected Iranian-led plot to smuggle weapons into the kingdom. These weapons were intended to support opponents of the ruling monarchy in carrying out acts of sabotage. Local sources cited by Reuters reported that the March plot involved Iranian-backed militias in Syria attempting to supply a cell of the Muslim Brotherhood in Jordan, which has connections to the military wing of Hamas. The network also planned to smuggle weapons into Palestinian Authority territories to establish a Hamas terror infrastructure, potentially opening another front against Israel. So they want, if Jordan gets into war with us, then we have to fight Lebanon, Jordan, West Bank, Gaza, and Iran. Who else? There's many more people we have to fight, right? So it's wild. somebody says, Iran must be dealt with. Let us not forget how the so-called Palestinians nearly overthrew the kingdom's government some number of years ago, right? There was the Black September where the Palestinians in Jordan, they tried to kill the king. Like, this is who they are, right? So now what I want to do is, basically, I want to find the articles where they lie, you know, which is a clear example of how the media lies to you, right? And smears Israel and makes us into monsters. And even if they correct it and apologize for their lies, the damage is done. And it caused all these people to hate us, right? So, let's see. Media stations which lied about Israel and apologized. Oh, we get a nice... Okay. It's funny, my hair was like this. And then it just fell. And then it felt funny. Okay, Channel 12 planning to sue journalists who refers to... Okay, so they're going to sue the journalists. Very good. They should, as they should, right? So Channel 12 is planning to sue journalists who refers to network as Al Jazeera 12. TV channel demands pro-Netanyahu pundit Eli Zipori apologize publicly, paying compensation of NIS 1 million for social media posts and claims amount to libel. So we have the enemy within that like loves monsters, right? There's always going to be the traitors in every place. Do you know what I'm saying? On Israel, a media that lies to itself will lie to you. Alright, let's go see. See, most of the media hates us, you know? You know, like, they all make, like, all these claims. Exposing Max Blumenthal's lies about Israel on October 7. We even have, like, news stations within Israel that lie about us. You know, like, Israeli news stations that lie about Jews. They're traitors, you know? BBC issues apology for laying unverified Hamas claims, right? So, the BBC, we all know, hates Jews. Like all the media, right? It's a slander campaign, right? How did the Holocaust happen? Because Hitler slandered the Jews. It was slander, it was lies, dehumanization of us. And all the media sources that are doing this to us, they are accomplices to genocide of Jews. BBC has blood on their hands, right? All these other CNN, blood on their hands. Liars have blood on their hands, right? We failed to adequately pursue evidence to support or refute their related allegations. We apologize for this oversight, right? The British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, has issued an apology for airing unverified claims made by Hamas regarding alleged extrajudicial executions of Gazan civilians by the Israeli Defense Forces, right? So it's a lie, of course, and it's not verified, but they go with this headline, and the damage is done, because this is what people believe, even if they apologize after, right? In a public statement, the BBC admitted that insufficient efforts were made to verify the accuracy of Hamas claims. They're garbage, basically. They're basically garbage. CNN, CBS, MSNBC, BBC, they're all garbage. Garbage people, garbage channels, they are unreliable. You can't, if they can't be relied upon to actually report facts, they can't be relied on for anything. They're like conspiracy theorists. That's all it is, you know. Like, conspiracy theorists have zero. Conspiracy theorists have zero credibility. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is okay, Donald Trump proposes alternative election debate. Kamala Harris says no. Donald Trump proposed to debate Kamala Harris on Fox News on September 4th. The Harris campaign said Trump is trying to back out of a debate that had been set to run on ABC. give me a break. Trump is not afraid to debate. He actually came to like a place where like black people, like black journalists, they told Trump that Kamala Harris or Joe Biden will be there to argue with him, you know. And he shows up and they disrespect him really, really bad. They disrespected Trump really bad. And then they go and no, Biden doesn't show up and Kamala Harris doesn't show up. Why? Because Kamala is a coward. And Biden can't show up because he's too old and frail. Okay, so, right, now we have let's go see. Let's go see. What other stations are there? Let's go see. Hold on. Bookmarks. Israel Today. Let's go see that. 2 killed, 2 wounded in terror attack. Defeating Hamas means defeating their God, yeah. Israel ready to defend immediate offensive attack, looming Iranian attack. Israeli Air Force strike kills October 7 terrorists employed by Al Jazeera. Very nice. Why Netanyahu has now decided to escalate attacks. I tell you, there's too much going on, right? Khamenei orders attack on Israel for Hania killing. He's next. It's Khamenei. He's next. I'm telling you, these terrorists, they let their families die. They don't care. You know, like Hamas claims now that Israel killed 15 kids in a school, right? Basically, what they do is Hamas operates their military in children's schools, right? And then they force children to sit around them, right? So Israel's tying Israel's hands, right? Because Israel, you know, if they have all these kids around them and Israel needs to eliminate the terrorists, right? The terrorist militants, they use the children as human shields, right? So basically, they're trying to make Israel not be able to fight a war, because then if we go and target the military terrorists who surround themselves with children, we will be killing children, because there's no other way to get to the terrorists, because they surround themselves with kids while they continue to operate their terror activities from schools. And it's like such a ridiculous situation, right? So, and nobody cares that Hamas is doing a war crime by taking their kids and using them as human shields, right? So it ties Israeli hands, right? And so it makes us look like monsters, when in reality, Hamas, countless times they go and they tell the people want to leave with their kids. They don't want to be, they know Israel's going to attack, right? Israel warns them, they send down leaflets, right? But the Hamas goes and takes them at gunpoint and says, you stay here. If you leave, we're going to kill you anyway, right? So the people, they're helpless, right? And so, but then there's this situation, like, how are we supposed to kill the enemy if they're playing such a war, you know? Like, and the reason why they're able to play this war is because you guys who hate Jews and hate Israel allow this. You guys say it's okay what the terrorists are doing with their kids by using them as human shields. You allow this. You are complicit in children dying in Gaza. You allow the children to be used as human shields. You are a war criminal. It's on you. It's not on us, it's on you. This is who you are. You allow this type of behavior. It does not reflect us, because we need to eliminate the threat, because in self-defense, you know, if somebody comes to kill us, the Jewish law is that we need to kill them first, and that's what we're doing in Gaza. But the fact that the Gazans think that it's okay to use their children as human shields so that when their children die, we get blamed for it, and then you stand with the Gazans against us, that's on you. You are complicit with their children dying, and you are complicit in war crimes. That's who you are. You are sick. You Jew haters are sick. And you stand with evil, and you are evil. Victory over Goliath. Right, okay, let's go see what else there is. Does a Jew become a Christian when he believes in Jesus? Fuck that. You know, fuck that. Okay. Okay, so now let's go and see Walla. Walla News. Alarms were activated in several localities in the lowland region. The person murdered in an attack in Cholon is 66-year-old Rina Daniv. Let's go see that. Her husband was seriously injured. This lady, Rina Daniv, was murdered. This lady, old lady, they kill old ladies. Literally, this is who the enemy is. They kill old ladies. Nothing I can say. There's nothing to be said, right? Alarms were activated in several localities in the lowland region. Like, so if the entire international community would come out and condemn what Hamas does by taking their children and using them as human shields, if they would come and condemn that, and they would say, oh, Israel's justified in this war, then what would happen is that Hamas wouldn't do it anymore, because they will understand it. They can't win for PR. They can't, it doesn't make them look good. Everybody sees through them and they condemn it, and they will stop using their children as human shields. They will stop blowing up their kids, because they will see that it's not going to help their situation to demonize Israel. But the problem is that the world jumps on demonization of Jews because they hate us for no reason other than we're Jewish, right? You guys are trash. A new threat from Gaza shakes the kibbutz. Can't leave the house. Oh, it's dogs. A new threat from Gaza shakes kibbutz Sikkim. Residents of kibbutz that surrounds Gaza are used to living in the shadow of gunfire from the strip. But while they only recently returned to the kibbutz after being evacuated from their homes, now they have to fear a pack of aggressive dogs that cross the fence. We issued an order to the kindergartens not to go on a trip, said the residents of the kibbutz, because in kibbutz Zikim, the residents are afraid to leave their homes, and not because of rocket threats. There's a pack of 20 dogs in front of our house, and I can't go out, said a Zikim resident. 20 months after the outbreak of the war, her beloved kibbutz is facing a new threat: aggressive dogs from the Gaza Strip. Just like the Gazans, you know, like the aggressive Gazans produce aggressive dogs that cross the fence to the Gaza Strip. The residents of the kibbutz are already aware of threats coming from Gaza. They say that the dogs that cross the fence first reached the military bases in the surrounding area, and in recent days have spread the kibbutz to the kibbutz area as well. The medical conditions of the dogs is unknown. They probably all have rabies. The residents say that some of them look weak and quite sick. I left the house. This morning, and 20 dogs started barking at me. I quickly ran home. The dogs scared the residents. They bark and look hungry, said another Zikim resident. See, they form packs. All dogs, that's how they work. They form packs, right? It's nature. According to the residents, no one is taking care of the new threat. Even so, the children who return home after many months suffer from trauma and great fears. The last thing we need now is for a dog to attack someone. The dogs escaped in Gaza, roamed the bases, and now they have come to us. They are on the kibbutz grounds and in the playgrounds, all of them, and especially the children are afraid to pass by them. It's like we can't catch a break, I tell you. We issue an order to kindergartens not to go for a morning walk for fear that the dogs will hurt them. And even if you have your own dog and you go walking, then the pack of dogs can attack your dog and you, right? So, this morning, Sunday, after the pressure exerted by the residents, the council's dog catcher arrived at the kibbutz. Okay, so now they're going to catch the dogs. Maybe they will, maybe they will give them vaccines, and maybe they will train them, and then we could use them. Yeah, we could use them as in the army. Somebody says, someone shoot the dogs. What's the problem? Maybe a dog, son of a dog, shot you birth. If the dogs are not taken care of, then certainly not comfortably. Okay, this is translated into English, so it's not clear what they're saying, right? Let's go see. Let's see what else I have. Business Today News. Myriv. Let's go see Myriv. Are the reservists worn out? Wicker spin the whole truth about the Axis that is going to explode. You know, like Israel, they tried to get all these reservists, right? They tried to get all these reservists to basically to fight, right? They call them up to fight because they don't have enough, like, regular soldiers that are doing service. So they had to get reservists who are older, you know? So they didn't expect everybody to want to step up. You know, they only expected people after October 7 to... They only expected a few reservists to actually want to fight and to actually participate, and what happened was they got more reservists than they thought they would get, right? More people stepped up to the plate. But now, because they wanted to fight the evil enemy, but now what is happening is that people are getting tired. They don't like the way the government is running the war because it's lasting too long, and a lot of reservists are dying and leaving families behind, and a lot of the reservists are being picked on by the government, you know, such as, you know, like being accused of doing things that they might not have done, and even if they did it, so what? You know, these are terrorists that they're dealing with. So it's a difficult situation that they're in, right? So the range is expanding again. Unusual firing from Gaza. How are they able to do this? I thought we crushed the enemy. It's like crazy. Right? Okay. Correspondence and threats between Frida and DJ. Morning news. Okay. A power plant was attacked in Lebanon. A large fire in the village ensued. Tabia viewed the photos, yeah. What could this be? Right? Could this be us attacking a power plant in... Where is this? In Lebanon. Could it be that we attacked it? Right? Very nice. Anyway. Fair and square. Right? Anyway, I think we covered the news so far. I think we covered the news so far. The Israeli news, at least. And I think we saw the cowardly behavior of Kamala Harris and how she is trying to appeal to her voters to vote for her, the Jew hater voters. And I think we covered a lot, and I might have said a lot of things in the heat of the moment and feeling very passionate about this, right? And feeling the enragement of the Jewish people worldwide, and it is what it is. Do you know what I'm saying? And what else, right? Yeah, so we covered that. Next time I will come on, I will actually continue on with the... Hopefully there will be no more attacks in Israel by Hezbollah or Gaza on us, right? Hopefully there won't be any more news to report today. And when I come on, we'll talk about what I wanted to talk about for a while, which was the blood libels and the defamation of Christians and typical Jew hatred by people, regular people that actually think that Jews cause all wars, you know, which is anti-Semitic to its core. And so basically, yeah. Anyway, it's been real, and have a great day. And I have 2 other channels, Shmirchik, TIPSY Tarot, and where I do political readings as well as individual readings for people live. And I also do I have a book reading channel. I have Rumble, and if any of you like my channel, feel free to subscribe. If you don't like my channel, unsubscribe. Okay, bye. Bye.